my phone, so I thought I would do today's 52 weeks of journaling as a live. Why not, she said. So, as you'll remember, last week we did this beautiful fabric page, and then I just did the one opposite with a pocket and the lace flip that I did in line with the Anne Brooks 52 handmade tags. So I'm going to turn over, I'm going to work on this page today, and the inspiration for today's page comes from this freebie paper by Artimaze as part of her July challenge. So I have got some embossed newsprint paper, I've got a bit of vintage paper, I've got a bit of ledger paper, and I've got a rose and a couple of butterflies. So I'm going to start by looking at ways you can stretch your vintage papers, because obviously your vintage papers are very precious. We want to get as much out of them as we can, and I'm really sorry because if you are watching live and making comments, I cannot see the camera to comment. So if you are, then fear not, I will be responding to your comments, but I will be doing that in the comments section below rather than answering you directly now. Okay, so I've trimmed it down so it's the page size that I want. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut off the line below the writing there. So I've got that one because, you know, we're trying to get as much out of these papers as we can. So now I'm going to trim off that bottom area. This bit's plain, so it's not particularly interesting. And I'm going to put the bottom at the bottom. So we're going to cheat that it's the whole page, but obviously we are saving quite a lot of precious vintage paper. Trim down the side there, and I'm going to offer this there. So that now is obviously going to fill that gap, you see. And actually I probably need to trim it a little bit narrower, look, on the side. So I'm just going to take a little bit more off the side there, like so. And now I believe that's fine once I get my lace down the side. But I also wanted to use some of this book page, so I'm just going to rip off a little piece there, like so. Right, let's do some inking up and then we can start putting this together. So I'm going to ink up this top bit first of all, ink all the way round. I trust everybody's okay. I know this is a really odd way for me to be presenting this week's, but I've got to be honest and say it's been a crazy week. There's been an awful lot going on behind the scenes, as it were. I've had an awful lot of things to deal with, most of which I have to be honest say not been particularly pleasant, and I did not want today to go by without getting the video for the 52 weeks up. And then when I found that my phone wasn't going to record it in the normal way, I almost gave up, but I didn't. I thought about it for a second and said, you know what, I'm just going to do it live, and at least then the video will go up and all things are good and wholesome, as it were, because I'm in the mood at the moment that it doesn't really matter what happens. I'm refusing to be beaten. I'm facing things head on, and I am like a lioness protecting her cubs at the moment. I am not going to be beaten down by anybody. So there you go. I feel like at this moment in time I'm a serious force to be reckoned with. But anyway, that's another subject. Right, so let's get that one on there. I'm then going to lap this one on top. I've got this one on the bottom, but I do want to put a little bit of this across the middle as well, and I'll show you why in a minute. So we can afford any trouble when it's been embossed, especially this newsprint paper. It does become a little bit weak, but there you go, these things are sent to try us. Right, let's get some glue on here. So I'm just gluing up around the edges of this piece of ledger, and then just a nice squiggle down the middle, and I'm going to line that up to give me a little tiny bit of framework on the page. So that one will sit there like so. I'm then going to do exactly the same with the embossed paper. And I'm going to stick that down in pretty much the same way. I'm going to put the jagged uninked edge to the bottom, because I can cover that up with this book page. This is going to be too big, but I'm just going to ink the middle of it, and then we'll trim off the bits that we don't want. So, whoops, we obviously don't want the plain bit, so I'm going to put it about there, like so. And I'm just going to turn it round, line that up with that, and pull it off there. And then I'm going to line it up with that top one and pull that off there. So now we've got that one going across there, and then I'm going to put my bottom one on at the end. So basically we've got 4 lines of different papers, well 3 different papers, because the top and bottom are the same. Okay, I'm going to pop that on there like so. Okay, so now we've got quite a nice interesting background. I'm now going to dive in to my bag of photos. I want quite a nice big photo to go on here, so let's see what I've got in the larger sections in here. That's not really big enough for what I want, but they do almost look like a cup. It's quite a nice one because this is people dining out, so I might just go for that one. Well, she's quite a nice big one. She's another nice big one. And they're all quite small. Right, okay, and they're tiny. So let's have a little look at this. Do I want people dining? That looks a little bit wrong. I think that one or this more browny one. I'm going to go for the brown one. Whoops, get that paper out of the way. So I'm just going to trim this up. So just get it trimmed across the top, down the side, across the bottom, and then up that side. And then we've got a nice large picture there. I'm going to ink around this, and then I'm going to build it up. I've got the butterfly and the rose. I might see if I can find a little bit of maybe pink type napkin. So I'm going to put her about there. Let's, this is not a napkin, but it has got, no, don't like the image. See, this is what happens. I've got a little bit of pinky type fabric here. Not to hand that I like. I'd have to go rummaging, but I have found this bit of lace. I think that's going to be lovely. So I'm going to put her onto that piece of lace. You can see this is where I did a bad print on the back when my printer was misbehaving. Let's give that a trim. And then across there. That's just going to give that photograph an extra little bit of backing. The story of this week, I've gone and stuck that the wrong way round, but anyway, let's get some glue on these roses because they're the more dense areas. Okay, I'm going to offer that there, like so. Now we'll put this picture back down. I'm going to put that in the middle there. That's that one. And then I had these beauties. I'm going to use my little tiny scissors for this because this is quite a feat of fussy cutting, but I think it's worth it. If you've already got obviously fussy cuts done, that's all the better, but I particularly wanted to use this pink paper from Andrea because I've got the pink lines in the ledger paper and I just thought it would make sense. So that's what I'm doing here. And hopefully later I will sort my phone out and we can get back to doing things normally before the weekend comes in. It's always crazy when you end up doing something in a different way, so I'm sure you know what I mean. So I'm just treeing this round and then hubby's desperately trying to fix an issue with the brakes on the car. That sounds a lot more ominous than it is. We have perfectly good brakes on the car, that's not the problem. The problem is the actual brake lights to let everybody else know that we're braking. And as is always, what should be a 5-minute job is turning into a nightmare because the one piece that he needs to fix it seems to be broken. So now he's got to try and track down a new one. Oh, deep joy. There you go. These things are sent to try us. And try us they do. Right, so that's our little rose. Okay. And I'm thinking that that probably sits about there. And then I think our butterfly will probably sit at the top. And I might even put a little bit of bling across the butterfly body. We'll see how we get on. So trimming this one out. The naughty male is still teasing me about being a paper ninja. I find it highly amusing, but there you go. So does she. It's all in good spirit, of course. Okay. Oh no, got to do this side. Got to do both wings, Claire. Can't just do one. Somebody's tooting away outside. I don't know if you heard that. Maybe tuck him under there. See? Very simple. pretty little bits. And this is where hubby comes trying to nick my tools because they're smaller and more delicate than the giant ones he has. And they get into little crevices. Oh no, today's nicking sellotape. So I'm going to put the butterfly up there. Okay, I'm going to put the rose down the buttered, nicely layered page. I think sometimes if you go over layering, it can look a little bit cluttered. So I just want to find a little bit of lace to run down that edge. So let's see if I can find some pink lace easily. Trusty lace box. Whoops, sorry if I just jogged you. Let's have a look. This is quite pale. This one might work quite nicely. It is a new modern lace. It's not a vintage one, but I think that's perfect colouring. So I'm actually going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac or 3-in-1, whatever, all the way down that side, and just stick that nice little bit of lace on there just to finish off the edge. Again, making sure it's the right way up, like so. Give it a little, whoops, give it a little, oh, I've stuck my page to me paper. Right, give it a little trim down the bottom. Get rid of that for the moment. Make that nicely stuck. And then I thought I'd just have a look for a little bit of bling from my tub here. And obviously the embossed paper on the back there is putting an extra pattern on the butterfly leaves, wings, not leaves. I think that's probably going to be a 3. So let's trim this down. So we've got a 3. Back to my 3-in-1, I think. Down there, like so, just to give our butterfly a little bit of bling. So there you go, that was a very quick and easy page, I think. Hope you got some inspiration from it. As I say, my inspiration came from Artie Maisie's freebie for the July challenge. If you want to get a copy of Artie Maisie's freebie papers, you will obviously need to join her Facebook group, Artie Maisie and Friends. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've had fun. See you again soon from this weird filming of a live. Bye for now.